Hi, greetings, fellow Arrow fans. We're going to look at Arrow Season 2, now continues on with the episode Blast Radius. Oliver continues his search for the man in the skull mask to no avail. Oliver and Thea host a camping party for Sebastian and Verdant. During the party, Oliver and son Laurel has been seeing Sebastian. Meanwhile, Felicity has been traveling to Central City to visit Barry, who is in a coma due to the explosion. A serial bomber, Mark Sheffer, who goes by the name Shrapnel, begins setting off bombs across Starling City as an anti-government movement. The first bomb he sets off is during the party, so Oliver rushes off to help as many people as he can. Felicity returns and says she reached out to Detective Lance. Meanwhile, Laurel shows up at Sebastian's office and she brings up to Sebastian about Cyrus Gold, someone Sebastian knows. He made up lies mixed in with some truths about what had happened in the past. After Sebastian leaves her alone in his office, she snoops. Thea questions Roy about him since the last 5 weeks he had been acting differently. He gets upset with her and said she was the only thing keeping him together. When making it in the storage room, they accidentally knock a box of glass down. Pace Nixon and Thea runs to get the first aid kit. Quentin believes that there was a leak in the police department and asks the Hood for help. Another blast occurs. Oliver went after the guy but loses him in the cause. Oliver gets upset and Felicity was upset as a result. Sebastian Blood begins his campaign as mayor and decides to organize a unity rally for the city. Before the rally, Oliver visits Sebastian and warns him. Oliver isn't able to talk him down from having it. Then at a rally, Sheffer targets the rally and leaves behind a bomb in the store. Oliver is able to apprehend Sheffer not long after he shot Diggle, and the bombs are disarmed. During the commotion, Thea witnesses Roy using his new strength to save her mother and subsequently confronts him about it. He lies about what happened. Oliver apologizes to Felicity. He then visits Sebastian. They team up to help the city. Laura continues to look into Blood after discovering that he has ties to Cyrus Gold. She visits a mental institution where she finds Blood's mother, who reveals that Sebastian killed his father and put her in the institution to cover it up. In a flashback, Slade experiences adverse effects to his mind and personality due to the Mirakuru. It causes him to strangle Oliver after vowing revenge against Ivo. Sarah hits him with a tree branch, causing him to let Oliver go. Slade begins to freak out because of it. Ivo asks for the drug in return for getting them off the island. So now let's take a look at some trivia surrounding this episode. After the second bombing, Officer Quinty Lance radios in. When Officer Quinty Lance radios in, he gives his call sign as DC-52, an apparent reference to the DC Comics' New 52 Comics universe. The hospital where Sebastian Blood's mother, Maya Resick, is living is named St. Walker's Hospital, a reference to the DC Comics character St. Walker. This is the first time Adam Donner, who was last seen as Davy Queen, and seems to have fully recovered from his vertigo overdose, has appeared. This episode reveals that Sebastian and Cyrus Gold had known each other for years before the events of State v. Queen. Quinty Lance says that his arm injury still hurts when it's cold. This line was originally uttered by Oliver Queen in The Dark Knight Returns. This episode takes place 5 weeks since the previous episode's events. And now let's take a look at a goof. In a shot on television, Shrapnel's store, Roy, Moira, and Thea can be seen entering the Unity rally together. However, in the very next scene, Thea comes to Moira that they need to try and find Roy, as if he entered without them. Interesting. So I think this episode is pretty good, and Roy definitely has some explaining to do to Thea, so yeah. So overall, I give Blast Radius 3 arrowheads out of 5. Well, anyway, tune in as we take a look at the next episode, Blind Spot. So, until then, in the words of Oliver Queen, you have failed this city.